Hi guys, and we're back. We're back. Y'all got me twice today. Oh my God, y'all got me twice today. How y'all doing? We are back. We are back for the review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Yes, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and do our disclaimer. Everything said in the video is alleged and in my opinion, and it is used for fair use. All right, and also entertainment. Yes, how y'all doing? Welcome back. Welcome back. We had a little brief intermission and we are back. All right. As you guys know, this is okay. As you guys know, this is the review for Love and Marriage Huntsville, season 6. I'm sorry, season 6, episode 11. Okay, the title of this episode is Betty Kruger Blue. I put the Kruger in. It's Betty's Blue, but I say Betty Kruger because that's just what I like to call her. Okay. Yes, I see y'all coming in. Please hit the like button as you come in. Let's go ahead and get started. Yes. All right. So the episode begins, you guys, where it left off at the meeting with the 6, Marceau, Tisha, Mel, Maurice, and Kimmy. Okay. Kimmy tells Maurice, says that you slapped an under new management name on the Black Expo event to make it pretty. And that's just what it is. Okay. Meaning that they stole the comeback group's idea and tried to remix it into their own to take the credit. Okay. Maurice then comes back and says, y'all just recycling our idea, telling Marceau and Tisha. So then Marceau comes back and says, when it comes to the comeback group, everything is dysfunctional. So then Kimmy hits back with and telling Marceau, says that Marceau, you are the biggest dysfunction of the group. Okay. So by this time, Kimmy is getting frustrated because it's just too much going on right now. All right. So then Marceau hits back with, man, please. That makes it dysfunctional, okay? Arguing back and forth with Kimmy because y'all know that's what he loves to do. He loves to argue with women. Marceau then says Mel clearly expressed that she doesn't want to be in the comeback group several times, okay? So then Kimmy says to Mel, would you have an issue with them saying that it's a comeback issue of some sort since you wanted to dissolve it, Mel? So Melody responds saying no, and she shook her head. So then Marceau says that I don't have an issue with all 6 of us saying that it's a comeback group initiative, but I would like for all of us to be there. To me, he says that's the synergy. All right. So then Melody says we talk about a lot of writers' fees, but do y'all even have a date for the event? Okay. Tisha says, yeah, we got a date. Okay. So then Tisha says, yes, we have a date. Says it's going to be not March, but March the 8th is the date. All right. So Melody's facial expression was like, no. She's shaking her head, nope, because that date does not work for her. All right. So then Maurice looks at Melody and says, damn, I'm booked. He was trying to make a little joke because of the way Melody was saying, no, whenever Tisha says March 8th versus March 8th. All right. So Marceau then sips his drink and then he laughs whenever Maurice says the joke of, oh, damn, I'm booked. So then Tisha says, well, that's fine. She says, just let us know. Just let us know if that's not a good time. So then Kimmy says to Mel, says, are you actually going to be gone, Mel? And Melody says, I'm going to be gone because I'm doing some openings for Eric Bellinger, which you guys know is an R&B artist. Okay, so they all look like, oh, Eric Bellinger. So you doing big things, Mel. That's kind of how they look. So then Maurice says, Mel, you have technology, right? Says you can do an electronic masterclass where she shares what it is that she does. So immediately Tisha's face looks like. So then Tisha interrupts and says, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So then Melody kind of looks like, what? So Melody says to Tisha, when you first sat down, despite all of the good energy that you were feeling, she says, what's going on? She said that you came out like a baby bulldog on some, so we're not going to pay anybody. And that it was very much so closed for discussion. She says, that's it. She says, then he mentions if she's not in town, that she can be do it by video, then you're going to say, no, she can't do that. And it's feeling very much so that you're being very closed-minded right now. So then the whole time that Melody is telling Tisha that, Tisha, she's sitting there looking like she don't know what's really going on and why she has this attitude towards Mel. Okay, she's all in her feelings and she's hurt because she don't want, of course, y'all know, the attention to be on Mel. All right, so then Melody says, I think Tisha just don't want to be here tonight. So then Tisha says, you know, Tisha interrupts Melody and says, if I don't want to be here, then I would just walk away. Okay, so everybody then starts arguing all at once when Melody says that it's just very frustrating. Okay, so then Maurice chimes in and says that in the midst of all the catfighting, he says, and this is why, you guys, that we cannot come back, meaning that the comeback group cannot come back to be a group again. All right, so then Melody says via her confessional, she says that the vibe and the energy in this meeting right now is some of the reason that I'm not interested in joining the event. She says, on top of that, the potential of being in the type of business with my ex-husband is another reason that I have one foot in and one foot out the door. Okay. So then Marceau, it goes back into the group. And so then Marceau asked the group, he says, is this something that everybody wants to do? So he's still trying to see if everybody wants to be on board. Maurice says that we need to collectively come up with something that we all can buy into so that it doesn't look like that we're in partnership, and it needs to feel like that it's our idea, not just Tisha and Marceau's idea. Okay. So then Tisha kind of looks like she disagrees, even though it's really the comeback group's original idea in the first place. Okay. So Tisha, she kind of giving these faces. Y'all know how she do. So then Melody says, so Maurice, are you saying that if it's not 6 people that you're not going to be involved? So then Maurice said, yeah, says, I feel like it's something that we put in the universe, but never ever completed. Okay. So then Marceau says, so you want it to be a comeback initiative. Then he asked Martell, so are you down? But you want to see the compensation package if there's one, right? So that's what he's asking Martell, because Martell was like, he don't know if he want to be down unless he sees a compensation package. So Martell says, yeah, he says, if there is one, of course, yeah, I would like to see it, which he would. So Marceau then says, well, Mel says that, will you participate and speak at the event? Still trying to get her to participate, and she's just still uncertain. But he said, but in person. All right. So then Melody says, I'm not sure. To be very honest, she says, and be clear, a lot of things have happened where I feel that I need to warm up and kind of take baby steps. So then Marceau then asks Melody, why? Melody says, cause a lot has happened. So then Marceau says to Melody again, says, but this is baby steps right now. Like what we doing here in the meeting, this right here is baby steps. So, of course, then Martell, during their exchange back and forth, Martell, he kind of has this smirk on his face because he knows the reason that Melody is hesitant to jumping in with both feet is because of him. Okay, it's 100% his fault as to why Melody really doesn't want to do it. And he knows that. So he's kind of giving Melody these eyes and kind of has this little smirk on his face. So then Melody says to Marceau, says, those are your feelings and these are my feelings, and says, and that's where I am, and I'm just being very honest. Okay. So then Marceau says to Tisha per confessional, says, honestly, babe, I'm okay losing Melody. Okay. Meaning if she don't do it, then it's fine. We still can forge ahead without her. So then Tisha interrupts Marceau and says that if we lose Mel, then we lose Maurice. Says we need all 6. We need everybody to participate. So then Maurice says that Reese is so passionate, okay, meaning that he's really not taking the bait in terms of what he and Tisha are trying to pitch to them. So then Marceau also goes on to say that it's going to be a lot more difficult than I thought. Okay, so then going back into the meeting, Martell then says, you going to email everybody? Talking to Tisha. So Mel, she's putting on her purse on her arm, like she's getting ready to leave. She's putting her purse on her shoulder. She's like, I'm sick of this shit. Like, is the meeting over? Like, I'm ready to go. So then Tisha replies to Martell, says, I don't even know what to even email to them at this point. She says that I just have to pray about this. All right. So then the next scene is, you guys, where Melody and Nell, y'all know Nell, Chris Fletcher's wife, go to a pole dancing class together. Okay. Melody, of course, she arrives first. Okay, she has on her workout gear. She goes in, cute little tight workout pants. The place is called Merch Fitness Asylum. And that's the location. So the instructor is there with her furry heels on, child. Y'all know she's like in full stripper mode, okay? She got on her furry heels on, and she's on the pole. She's doing some moves when Melody walks into the room. Melody's like, oh, okay, this is nice. I see you. You giving body. You giving body. So Melody then greets her. So then Melody, of course, goes into confessional. She says, with everything going on in my life, she says, I feel like I need to cut loose and take a pole dancing class. She says, of course, I'm inviting my ride or die, Nell Fletcher. And I'm like, you might want to think about that ride or die again. Because according to the way that she was acting at the baby shower, it was not giving me ride or die, but go off, okay? Nell was kind of flip-flopping a little bit at Tiffany's baby shower. So I was kind of side-eyeing when Mel was calling her ride or die, all right? So Nell walks in and greets Melody. Of course, she then drops her phone, and Melody makes a comment as to say that the instruction body was so nice that made Nell drop her phone. So it was kind of like a laugh out loud moment for the both of them. So Melody tells Nell, she says that she has to put on the stripper heels, and it's these tall heels like this. And Nell was kind of looking like, yeah, I don't know about that. Okay. Nell says, Mel, she says, are you said, Mel, you joking, right? She said, you joking in terms of wanting her to put on them heels. She said, what you want me? She said, what you want me to do? Break my neck? So I was like, no, I was just kind of hoping that you would trip a little bit so that lace front can kind of shift back. Because baby, you had it pulled too far up front to where it was damn near touching your eyebrows, and lace front should not be this far up on your forehead. So I was kind of hoping that you would trip just a little bit with the stripper heels on so that your lace front can maybe shift just a little back to the back. But that was a little shady. Anyway, so Mel in her confessional says that Nell has continued to show her loyalty and honesty. She says, for me, continuously, I just, she says that I don't question her if her heart is pure when it comes to me. Okay. So then Mel also says, she says that Nell, she said, you might want to watch. No, I was saying that Mel might want to watch the last episode in terms of Nell being honest and all that, because I just don't see it. But maybe she sees something that we don't see. I don't know. So the instructor then she proceeds to show Mel and Nell this thing called a leg wave. So that's where they get on the pole and then they're kind of moving their leg in like a sensual type of way back and forth. On the pole, of course. Melody, she's like tunnel vision. She's tuned in. She's looking like she's really enjoying this. She's taking it all in. And I'm just like, okay, Mel, like you look like you enjoying this a little bit too much here. So then Nell, she's standing like real close to the instructor while she's on the pole, and she's focused on the instructor so much so to the instructor said, oh, where are you? She was looking for Nell. So she said, oh, you're right here. So Nell was like, yeah, I'm right here. I'm just trying to get it. I'm trying to get what you're doing. So the instructor then tells them to do a hip roll, okay, which Melody was happy to do. So they kind of like they're at the back of the pole, like the pole is behind them. They're holding on to the pole, so they're kind of like dropping down, and they open their legs, and then their legs kind of like open, and then they kind of drop down on the pole. So she's showing them different moves. Nell is enjoying it. Mel is really enjoying it. Okay, they're real giggly and they're real excited while they're doing these moves as well. All right. So then Nell says, yeah, she says, I need to get a pole in my house. Okay. So I was like, yeah, you about to have sheetrock pulled out everywhere, honey, because the way you was on that pole trying to do them moves, Nell, I don't think you ready for no pole at home, but go off, sis. All right. So, of course, Mel was laughing at Nell the entire time while Nell was trying to do her little moves on the pole, child, looking like she needed a little more practice. All right. So then Mel tries it as well, and she does very well on the pole as if she's been on the pole before. No shade to you, Mel. Love you, Mel. So the instructor steps out of the room and leaves Mel and Nell to talk, to kind of have their own little time alone so they can talk and catch up or whatever. So Mel asks Nell, is she going to get the moves to use for tonight? Okay, so you trying to learn these moves so you can kind of use them tonight. So then Nell kind of changes the subject to ask Mel what she's been doing, because as you guys know, by this time the picture of Mel and her new guy of them on Instagram where he has his arm over her has surfaced all over the internet where everybody's seen it. Y'all already know Kimmy's already asked her about it. Several people have seen it and have asked Mel. So Mel says that it was amazing. She says it was amazing. What did y'all do? Okay. Because Nell was asking her what she did for her Valentine's Day. So Mel was like, oh, it was amazing. What did y'all do? So Nell was saying that she said it was great that we had a romantic dinner. She says, what did you do? Because I seen you on Instagram. So she's trying to pull this information out of Mel because she knows that Mel has a new man and she's trying to be nosy. And Mel has already picked up on what Nell is trying to do. So she's kind of looking at her like, I see what you're doing. So then Mel says, I had a great Valentine's Day. She's being real short with her answers and very precise. So then Nell says, where were you? She says, where were you at, Missy? You know, she's doing these little moves right here. She's real antsy. So then Mel says, I was out of the country. And Nell says, out of the country with who? She says, I seen an arm. She's trying to pull it out of Mel, like, what's going on? Who is this new guy? I saw you. So Mel kind of looks like, girl, I ain't about to tell you nothing. That's how Mel looking at her like, yeah, I ain't about to tell you nothing. You can stop all that squirming. You can stop all these questions. Like, yeah, no, I'm not about to tell you nothing. So then Mel goes into confessional. She says that I don't say what I don't want to say. She says, I trust Nell enough to spill one bean. All right. So then production shows the picture of Mel and her new boo, like I just said, where Mel was kind of leaned back in his arms and he had his arm thrown over her. Melody says that in that particular picture that she was in the back of the vehicle with her boo and they were headed to the resort. They were on vacation together. All right. So then back to where Nell and Mel were. Nell is kind of prancing around asking Mel. She says that he must be very special. So she wants to know who this person is and she wants Mel to open up about him. So Melody says, yeah, he is actually. He is special. So then Nell says that you in a good space with your new boo? So then Mel says, I am. She said, I actually am. She says, before I was in anything with him, she says that I used to post protector, provider. She says, so I didn't even know how big protection was in terms of feeling safe. She says, because I didn't know that I didn't have that, you know, with Martell, of course, you know, she didn't feel protected. She says, that is something that, you know, that I love. So then Melody also goes in to say, she says that I didn't have a protector for years prior to leaving my marriage. Okay. So then Melody also says in confessional, she says that your husband or your mate is supposed to be the person that you can trust the most. She says, but when I found out that I was literally sleeping with the enemy, that was a huge stab to the chest for me. She says that it took a while for me to heal and move past that. She says, now I'm in a situation where I don't have to deal with that. Okay. So it sounded like she has someone who is protecting her and being there for her as Martell was not. So that's what she was trying to say. So then Mel says to Nell, she says that everything I had checked off, Melody says to Nell, she says that everything that I had checked off on my list, that he is everything. He's all of those things that I have checked off. She says, and I find myself in tears when I think about it. She says that I didn't think that it would happen so quick. So she's, you know, kind of opening up a little bit more to Nell in terms of this new guy. So then Nell says, do you think that he is the prince? You think he's going to be your prince? So Melody says, I do. So it sounds like this guy is very special to her. She says, I do. Yeah. She says that he always makes sure that I'm good. Do I need anything? Anything I can do for you? Are you okay? So she's telling Nell this, and Nell, she's just sitting there like this, just kind of like taking it in like, oh, okay. Okay. So then Nell says, am I going to get to meet him? And she's smiling. And Mel was like, maybe. Like, yeah, you jumping the gun. Like, I ain't ready for that yet. So then Nell says, not right now. She says, Mel says, maybe, but not right now. Okay. So then Nell says, so we don't even know his name. Like she was trying to kind of pull the name out of Mel. And Mel was like, no, I'm not about to tell you no name. So then Mel says, people won't know until Melody was saying that people won't know until I announce that I'm married, probably. So she ain't gonna be ready to to tell nobody about who this person is. She said probably until she's married, which I feel her on that. She's in a new situation. She's still learning him. She's in a happy place with Martell running rampant, baby. Don't tell nobody nothing. Don't leak anything. Just be in that moment and be happy, because you don't want Martell trying to be, you know, doing like he was doing with old boy when he thought he was the man. Devin Keith, y'all know how he acted with him. So Nell then says, I'm happy for you, Mel. So then Mel then proceeds to tell Nell about the Expo event and that the drama that was surrounding that in the meeting that they were in. All right. So then Mel says in her confessional, she says that that the Scotts and Martell, she says being with the Scotts and Martell, she says all that is a lot that has transpired. She says that she don't really want to go into business with them or with Martell. Okay. She says, however, she's willing to give suggestions a time or two. She says that if Beyonce can leave Destiny's Child and be solo, then she can be solo too. And I was like, hey, I feel you on that, sis. All right. So going into the next scene is Marceau and Tisha. They're going apartment hunting. And they're looking at the new apartment that they are potentially moving to. Marceau pulls up in his new rental truck, and we know it's a rental, okay? Just from sources. So then Tisha and Marceau, honey, they go into confessional, and they're saying Scott Manor is going to take longer than expected, so we're going to make our current home more comfortable. Says while Marceau and his team work on the renovations, this is what Tisha's saying, while Marceau and his team work on the renovation versus renovations, says that me and the family are going to stay in this apartment, okay? So then Marceau says, yeah, it's getting a little tough right now. Says that we thought that it would be a lot quicker, but it's a lot longer, so we ain't gotta live like this. So we're just going to move and flip it up and get more comfortable for the time being, okay? I was like, no, y'all got to pay the $61K to the excavation company that y'all didn't pay so that they can continue working. That's all you got to do, pay your bills. But anyway, so the lady that's showing the apartment takes Tisha and Marceau around and shows them the apartment. She tells them that it's a 2,000 square foot apartment. It's very spacious with walk-in closets. Tisha, of course, enjoyed it because when she saw the closet, she says, "Oh, this is better than the closet we got back at home," which we all know because y'all know Tisha was hanging stuff on the closet doors, on the doorknobs. They ain't got no space. Her and Marceau share a little basic little closet with her clothes and his clothes all jammed in there. And now they're starting to hang stuff out on the doorknobs, pocketbooks all over the doorknobs, and stuff hanging out all over the doors. So yeah, they don't have no space in that little tiny house. They are all scrunched up in there. So that apartment really looks like it's way bigger than their house. So then Tisha, of course, like I said, she's ranting and raving about this damn closet, and she's happy about the apartment. So the lady, she kind of steps out after showing them the apartment to allow them to discuss to see if it's something that they want to move forward with. So Marceau then says to Tisha, says, I think MJ and I should just stay over there at the old house, okay? Because of course y'all know they're saying that Marceau is going to be the one that's doing the renovations on the house because y'all know they don't pay nobody. They ain't got no money probably to be paying nobody. So it's looking like they're going to try to do their own renovations. So he's telling Tisha that he thinks that MJ, which is their son, should stay over at the other house that's going to be renovated with him, okay? Obviously he ain't talked this over with Tisha because she's looking at him like, excuse me? So then Tisha says, why? Why would you stay there? Okay. Marceau says that I'm trying to get this stuff done, T. He says that I have a time factor. He says, and I can manage it in my mind. Says I got it set up with how I want to do it. Okay. So this is his excuse for wanting to stay outside the house. But then he's trying to use their son MJ as a reason to say, oh, he's going to come with me. So you ain't really got to worry about me being over there with no holes in nothing because our son going to be over there. That's kind of how he was trying to put it. So Tisha says, no, says that you're going to be staying here. Okay. So then Marceau, he's looking crazy at Tisha. He says, you remember that time that you went out of town for Mother's Day? So here we go. I said, here go the gaslighting. All right. Tisha said, yeah. Marceau says, and I redid the bedroom. You do know how I did that, right? So Tisha says, I do throughout the night, right? So then Marceau says, I had 2 jobs, working at the theater, working at night, and we had the apartments. Says and the houses he said and the houses, and I would come home at night and put in the work. Okay. He says that I was gonna be putting in your office too in the beginning. Okay. So then Tisha said, like continue, because your ass still gonna be staying right here in this house. So then Marceau says, who is doing this? Me or MJ? So Tisha says, but you and MJ aren't going to have no bachelor's pad, okay? So she's telling him that, yeah, y'all not going to be staying over there having a whole bachelor's pad while me and the girls are staying over here in the apartment. So then Marceau says, bachelor pad? He says, just FYI, Tisha, he says that your 16-year-old son and his dad is not is not going to be a bachelor's pad. Okay. So then Tisha says, I don't know what else to call it. So then Marceau says, it's not a bachelor's pad. He says, call it homework. All right. So then Tisha says that she says that I don't give him that direction, like me and my dad stay over there in this house and my mom and the girls stay over there in the apartment because we're renovating here. Like, no, sir, we're a family. We stay together under one roof because we're a family. So she's explaining to him why it's not okay for him to stay over at the other house. All right. So then Marceau, then he's still arguing, trying to argue his way into staying at the other house. And he says that when I worked in your office till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, he says, was I living there? He says, no, I'm not. He says, but I'm doing this for a sacrifice. So now he's trying to make Tisha feel guilty in terms of not allowing him to do this. And now he wants to call it a sacrifice to the fact that he wants to stay over there with MJ and for Tisha to stay over there. And I keep saying, I feel like he is sick and tired of Tisha's ass, which is why he's looking for any type of reason to be able to stay out of the house and get the hell away from her. He is over Tisha. He is tired of Tisha. He don't really care about trying to stay over there in no damn apartment. He wants to be far away from her ass. And this is proving it. She still don't see the writing on the wall. He is steady trying to tell her, I'm really not happy in this situation, but I'm just here. And I feel like once those kids get old enough, he gonna be done left her ass. Their oldest son is 16. When them 2 girls get old enough and get the hell out of there, he gone. And I think he's only trying to stick around for the kids if she don't run him off before then. And that's just my interpretation. So Tisha, at this point, she's rolling her eyes and she's very annoyed at Marceau. Marceau says, can you just listen, Tisha? So Tisha says, I am listening to you, Marceau. So she's kind of getting an attitude with him at this point. So Marceau says, but you're rolling your eyes. And I'm just like, bitch, she a grown woman. So then Tisha says, because you're saying the same thing twice. All right. So then Marceau says, that's a little rude, right? Rolling your eyes when I'm talking is rude, babe. All right. So then Tisha says, I'm not trying to be rude, but you're saying the same thing. Like, get to the damn point, because I'm still on no in terms of you staying over there. That's what she's trying to tell him. Marceau says, but can you hear me twice? And I would have been like, no. Marceau is so damn exhausting, y'all. And he loves to gaslight the hell out of Tisha. And she continues to allow it, which is why he continues to do it. But Marceau says, I don't feel like you heard me. And then he kind of grabs his head. So then Tisha kind of grabs her head like this. So she says, this is frustrating like the other day, meaning like at the meeting when they were arguing back and forth about this whole expo situation. All right. So then Marceau says that it's a lot of pressure on you. Tisha was like, yeah. So then Marceau says, imagine how much pressure it is on me. So now he's going to make it about him. So he wants Tisha to feel sorry for him when he's trying to make her feel bad about him not wanting to stay there. Y'all see the gaslighting? So then Marceau then says, think about it like this. Says that when Mel and Maurice the other day were speaking in the meeting and you were frustrated and no one was listening, all of a sudden, boom, you're frustrated. That's what he says to Tisha. And I'm just like, what does that have to do with y'all talking about you staying in the house and not going to stay at the other house? That don't have nothing to do with nothing that Tisha is talking about right now. So he's trying to talk in circles and confuse Tisha like he always does when he's trying to get what he wants. So then Marceau now plays, like I said, the victim. Tisha says, I understand. So then Marceau says, no, you don't understand, Tisha. And I'm just like, he's giving dad vibes when it comes to this conversation with Tisha. So then Tisha says, this is something that I'm not willing to bend on. Says that you can do the labor, but get your butt in the car, come here, and you're going to sleep here at night. Says that that's all I'm saying. She says that everything else is the same. So then Marceau, he's kind of staring at the floor, and you can tell that he's pissed off about it. And he says, all right, like, all right then. And Tisha says, just make sure we're clear on that. Okay. She has her hands on her hips. She is not bending on the fact that she wants him home every night. So then Tisha says in confessional, she says that Marceau got me all the way messed up. She says that this is not going to happen. Our family, she says, our family, we're family. So we're going to stay under one roof, period. Okay. And that's how she says it. Marceau, of course, was gaslighting and mad as hell because he was not getting his way. He says that I'm willing to compromise. He says that I'll reach out to some other people to see if we can get it done. And I'm going to tell you right now, Tisha, he said that labor cost is going to come from your allowance. Okay. I was like, allowance? She getting an allowance? And then Tisha says from both of ours, not just mine, but from both of ours. So then Marceau says that you want me here, then you got to pay for it. Okay. So Tisha says, no, we both got to pay for it. So y'all see how he gaslight her and kind of play her. So, and then Tisha then turns around after she's saying all this, no, no, no. She turns around with, okay. Okay. So then Marceau says, so we both give up something in this relationship. And I was like, is this a relationship or is it a marriage? This is not just some chick that you know, just living with. This is your wife. I was just like, damn. So then Tisha rolls her eyes again and she was like, okay, Marceau. I was just like, oh, y'all got too much going on, honey. Y'all need some serious therapy. So then the next scene is, and I'm gonna cut this short because this was pointless. This whole scene right here was between Courtney and Marceau, honey. Courtney goes to Marceau's, I want to say he's over there at Black. They're building some other stuff over there to go over there and talk to Marceau, to talk about how Stormy fired that cousin Junior and how things were going with that. And Marceau is acting all interested while Courtney is talking, which I found to be very weird. Okay, I felt like this scene was very fake and very useless, and production was trying to give Courtney some screen time because we really haven't seen him do any one-on-ones. Thank you so much, Chocolate 25. And they used Marceau to kind of do it because really he hasn't been getting a lot of screen time as well. Okay, so Marceau didn't even give Courtney a pound. Y'all remember at Tiffany's baby shower, Courtney stuck his hand up to give Marceau a pound. Marceau ignored him like he didn't even, like he won't even feeling him. So it was weird to me how Courtney just pulls up like they just boys like that to try to have a conversation with him. Okay, he kind of left him hanging when he stuck his hand up to give him pound at the baby shower. So I was just like, what the hell going on between them two? So for Courtney to pull up and be trying to have a conversation with Marceau was just very weird to me. But long story short, Marceau was pretty much trying to tell him that he's getting ready to be building a barbershop that will be built next to Black in the same building or whatever. And as you guys know, I did a live on it before where Tisha's makeup artist, her boyfriend, would actually be the owner of that particular barbershop. Thank you so much, Michelle B, for the super chat. But now that this alleged boyfriend have let the cat out of the bag to let everybody know that Marceau was messing around with Tisha's makeup artist, which was his girlfriend, there's been a halt on this particular barbershop being built at the location. I think it's Black. I think they're going to be building it right next to Black. So I think they put a halt on the barbershop because Marceau is upset because this rumor came out about him messing around with the makeup artist. Her name is Jasmine. I already showed y'all the mugshot where she was arrested about 2 weeks ago now. And yeah, so that's Tisha's makeup artist, as to where they were saying that there's some kind of secret room over at Black where Marceau was allegedly messing around with Jasmine. And the boyfriend found out and he put Marceau on blast. So there's some tea for you guys. Okay. We'll say allegedly, but y'all know Caramel be on her shit over here. So yeah. So that's what that is. So Marceau was pretty much telling him about the barbershop that's supposed to be built there, which now we also know that the barbershop has been put on hold. Next scene. I ain't even gonna stay on that because ain't nothing else to see there. Next scene is Tisha invites Melody out to try to convince her to be a part of the SPO, as she calls it. Okay. Now they're having lunch while they talk. Tisha arrives first. Melody, of course, comes in after, just very shortly after. Tisha says via confessional that I don't know what's going on with Mel when it comes to participating in the SPO. It seems like she's just making up excuses, says that you can just say no, and I'm okay with that. Okay. So I was just like, child, I think Tisha realizes that the expo is really not going to go anywhere and or do anything unless Melody is involved because of her connections and her ability to be able to speak and articulate things the way it should be when it comes to business, because Tisha does not have any type of business acumen about herself. She lives for Mel. She wants Mel to be there because she knows that Mel can make things pop. All right. Moving right along. So Melody comes in. She greets Tisha. Tisha says, how are you doing? Says that it's really a windy day today, ain't it? She's making small talk with Mel, trying to break the ice. She does that fake laugh that I hate so much. Okay. Then they have small talk to kind of, like I said, break the ice. They're sitting and talking. They both ask how the kids are. Tisha says that her kids are great. Mel says that her kids are good, that they're with Martell this week. Tisha says, oh, how do you like that? Okay. Melody says, well, it's 1 week on, 1 week off. We've been doing this so long now, since like 3 years. She says that it was hard at first. She said that you get used to it. You know, first of all, it was kind of hard for me getting used to not seeing the kids every day. But then, you know, she says it is what it is. She didn't really want to go into detail with that with Tisha. And I'm just like, Tisha, why are you asking? Because are you trying to get some pointers on what you need to do when you get ready to leave Marceau? Because it doesn't look like you guys are doing very well. It's kind of looking like you're getting some pointers like you did when you guys were in Destin and you were asking Melody all these questions about how she's getting along after she left Martell. How do you do it? How do you get along? How do you move on? So now you're asking, how is it with you guys co-parenting? She wants all the intimate details in terms of how to co-parent and how to, you know, do the 1 week on, 1 week off. But moving on. Tisha then says that 1 week on and that 1 week off, I don't know how that would feel. Okay. So then Melody goes into confessional. She says that I'm not going to go into detail with Tisha about the custody situation, because if you haven't been in it, if you have not been in it or this situation, that you wouldn't understand. She says, I literally have an ongoing custody case happening in real time. All right. So back to the table with Tisha and Mel. Tisha says that I wanted to talk to you because in our meeting, you was there, but you wasn't there. She says, thanks for being there, though. She says that I'm so used to Mel being there and you talking, and you're going to be the leader and you're going to give a lot more than you've been giving, and then what we've been getting from you in the meeting. See, she lives for Mel to be there because she likes when Mel takes the reins of everything in terms of the meeting, because Tisha does not have that, so that she can have somebody to piggyback off. If Mel ain't talking, Tisha don't have no ideas. Period. If Mel ain't talking and throwing out little nuggets and giving out ideas, Tisha is lost. She don't know what to do. So if Mel is talking, Tisha's making mental notes and making notes on her little notepad so that she can flip it and try to make that idea her own, just like she did when Melody spoke about sponsorship. Nobody was speaking about sponsorship. Nobody probably even knew how to. Tisha didn't even know how to say sponsorship prior to Mel even saying it. So once Mel mentioned sponsorship in the first meeting, here comes Tisha now. All of a sudden, everything is about sponsorship. Ciao. All right, so Melody then says that it's twofold. She says last time that we were all meeting, she said the last time that we were all meeting to do something together, she said that we hadn't gone through as much as we have gone through today, right? She says that we're all on much better terms. And this year, she says 2023, a lot more has happened. So she says, I'm not going to show up like the Melody that showed up a few years ago. She was like, it's a new year. It's a new me, pretty much. Like, you're not going to get the old Melody. The old Melody that y'all used to get back then, she gone. This is the new Melody. You know, let me reintroduce myself. You're not getting the old Mel. So Tisha, she kind of shakes her head like, and then she's sipping her drink. She's staring at Mel, as she always does anytime Mel is in her presence. Melody then continues. She says, for me, she says that God has given me the feeling of being involved as people want me to be. She says, but people can make you jump. People cannot make you jump from 0 to 10. She says, you got to let me do it at my own pace. She says that I don't want people saying, well, because it's for the community, that you should just jump in. She says that it was just months ago that none of us were even on the same page. She says that there was a lot being said. All right. Now, we do know that Tisha and Mel, they really haven't gotten along since the reunion, the last reunion, where they actually rolled tape back to where Tisha was saying that Melody had this whole dark soul and was a devil in sheep's clothing. Okay, so production rolled tape back in that moment, which kind of reminded everybody where they used to be. All right. So, and the only reason that they are on speaking terms at this point right now is because Carlos King had a whole meeting with the cast to let them know that they better get along this season or people's jobs are going to be on the line. Their ass is going to either be fired or get along. So that was pretty much the ultimatum that he gave them. So that's why they are playing nice. This is why they're having comeback meetings and all this bullshit. Otherwise, they would not be speaking to anyone. So Melody then says that it's irrational to say, let's do this now with everything happening like it did. She says, and just to be okay, she says, being around Martell, she says, I ain't really trying to be doing that. I'm not ready for that right now. She says, just to be real with you, I'm really not trying to be around Martell. So then Tisha says, I respect that. She says that everybody move at different pace, not paces. Okay. So then Tisha says, I feel like that we're both stepping out of our comfort zone. Okay. And I never thought that we'd be doing this. Okay. She says, I understand your position wholeheartedly. Okay, she had to break that wholeheartedly down because y'all know that was very hard for her to say. She said that it would be more great if you would be part of it. Melody was like, Melody was not even damn thinking about nothing that her ass was saying. Melody was over there putting that food in her mouth. Melody was eating the hell out of whatever that was she was eating, like a salad or something. But she says, whatever the case may be, I'm just not going to force it. Okay. But I'm like, you are forcing it. That's why you invited her to come here. Because Melody had already said in the meeting when you guys were sitting there that she did not know she wanted to be a part of it. So then you call her for a separate meeting, for a one-on-one meeting between just you and her, thinking that you could further convince her into doing something that she already says she don't know if she wants to do. Okay. So that really lets her know that y'all really do need her. And it low-key looks like you're begging her to be a part of something because you really do need her, because you can't do it on your own. All right. So Tisha says via confessional, she says that the points that Mel is making is valid points. She says, however, this is for the community. And that's what I had to get to. She says that I said that, you know what, Tisha, put your personal feelings aside and let's focus on the end goal of this, D-I-S. That's her favorite thing to say, this. So Mel says, our conversation is different than when everybody is together. She's telling Tisha that. She says, and I don't want it to be about me. She says, is Mel going? Is Mel going to do this? Is Mel going to do that? She says, or trying to convince me to do something. She says that I don't even want to hear all that. She says that I don't mind giving ideas, but that's it. Meaning don't get in front of everybody and be trying to force me into doing something when I'm steady telling you not to. She says, but just with me and you being here on one-on-one, it's seeming like our conversation is a little bit better versus when we're out in front of everybody, because it's kind of looking like you trying to sun me in front of everybody versus you and I being on one-on-one and we on the kumbaya. Y'all see where I'm going with that? She was trying to be real haughty towards Mel in the meeting, but now that they're one-on-one, she's like, oh yeah, I agree. Whatever you saying, yeah, I feel you, Mel. But she didn't have that energy at the meeting. So that's what Mel was trying to point out to her. Okay. So of course, Tisha's still begging Melody, and she says that, are you willing to at least go to the event? I was just like, girl, damn, how many ways do she have to say no? So Melody was like, maybe. She says, but I have a performance out of state. Okay, which she already told your ass that about 3 times now. So Tisha says, well, we be there on the 8th. And she said, we're going to be there on the 8th. And then they're going to send us a picture of Melody all booed up on vacation, which further lets me know that you've been seeing what old Melody be doing when she's on vacation for you to make that little statement. Okay, you don't like Melody, you ain't checking for her, but you sure do know some pertinent details about her being out of town on vacation with said boo. Okay. So then Tisha says, so you gonna say that I can't do it, but be booed up or something? Then I'm gonna say, okay, now this heifer, okay, she tried to laugh it off and said, but that's really how she felt. All right. So Mel, of course, was ignoring her, not even hearing a damn thing Tisha was saying. Mel was raking big forkfuls of food in her mouth, and she was eating that damn food. She won't think about nothing damn Tisha was saying. Y'all know Mel gonna eat if she don't do nothing else. I'm talking about she was raking it in her mouth. So then Mel says, no, I won't be on vacation. She says, I really do have a performance on the 8th, which y'all do know because she did go to a performance to open up for Eric Bellinger on that date, because I did a live about it. So then Tisha says that she still wants Mel to go look at the event space at least to decide if she don't want to be a part of it. I was like, girl, damn. Tisha, you begging more than Keith Sweat over here. Damn, girl, like, calm down, girl. You begging way more than Keith Sweat. So Keith Sweat and Lenny Williams. Keith Sweat and Lenny Williams. That's how much Tisha was begging Mel at this damn meeting. I said, sis, it's starting to really look like you climb down out of Melody's ass, child. You in the third wing of her ass. So okay, climb down, Tisha. Mel, instead of telling you no. All right. So Melody, she started eating her food while Tisha started asking her all these damn questions. I was like, sis, all right. So Melody gets up to leave after eating her food, child. She finished her food. They're ending the meeting. They get up. She greets Tisha. They hug. She says to her that you got the bill, right? Melody says to Tisha, you got the bill, right? And she starts walking towards the door. She chucks the deuce. She puts the 2 fingers up. She turns around. She smiles and tells her bye. Tisha says, yeah, I got the bill. It's the least I can do. Okay. So then Mel, like I said, chucks the deuces. She continues to walk out. Mel's like, yes, free lunch accomplished on you. The dark soul. Thank you. All right. So next scene. Move right along. We moving on past this thing, honey. Stormy Betty Kruger, honey. Stormy's cousin, the one that she fake fired, the one named Junior, from the warehouse, and her aunt Lisa, all right, which is Betty Kruger's sister. This whole scene, you guys, was fake, as you guys know. If y'all follow Stormy, you guys know that she does these little videos where she be reenacting different movies. She did one for the movie Friday where she was Felicia. So Stormy is trying to get into her acting thing, and this particular scene was one of those things. Found out that this particular scene was fake, that Stormy does have an acting coach, and she had Betty, Junior, her aunt Lisa to all be a part of this situation. All right, so this whole scene was fake. I was like thoroughly annoyed, and I really didn't even want to do this part, but because it is a part of this scene, it is what it is. So Stormy and Betty are sitting and talking while Stormy is burning sage, trying to clear the atmosphere. Betty is sitting there looking like Rick James with mascara on, honey, like she was ready to say that I'm Betty Kruger, biatch. Okay, because y'all know Rick James say, I'm Rick James, bitch. So she was looking like she ready to say, I'm Betty Kruger, bitch. So Betty and Stormy, honey, Betty says to Stormy, she says, I gave you the rundown from the jump. She said that Junior shouldn't have been hired. She said the friends, family, and business don't mix, okay? So then Stormy says, let's have a good conversation with good energy, Mom, okay? So Stormy's cousin Junior, of course, and then the Aunt Lisa, which is Junior's mom, they're coming over to talk, to have a conversation, all right, with this fake ass scene. So then Stormy says via confessional that making a part from Junior from Canvas Beauty was the hardest thing that I could ever do. She said that we grew up close like brother and sister. She says that Mama told Aunt Lisa what happened with Junior. She says, with Junior and I, she says, so there's so much history and baggage and emotional turmoil. She says that I really wish that my Aunt Lisa could have learned about the issue from me versus my mom, okay? Because y'all know Betty lives to be stirring up some mess. So this whole mess is, oh, y'all pray for me through this part, because I was just like. So then Stormy says that I know when something goes left in our family, and it trickles with y'all. So I didn't want to see that happen. She said y'all already know that. So she's talking to her Aunt Lisa. So then Junior, who was sitting next to Stormy, then gets up and walks over and sits beside his mom, Lisa. Okay. So then her Aunt Lisa says to Stormy, she says that I want to know, wait a minute. She says that I don't want to know why it wasn't necessary for you to tell me. Oh, she says, I want to know why it wasn't necessary for you to tell me about firing Junior. Okay. So she's upset because Stormy fired Junior from the warehouse. So then Stormy says that I was under the impression that Junior was going to tell you. So you found out from Mama. Okay. So then Betty, she's sitting there looking like the devil that she is. Okay. Knowing that she started the mess. All right. So then Stormy looks at Betty, and Betty says to Stormy that she came to my house and we was talking and kept mentioning the warehouse. And I said that you do know that Junior was fired, right? Okay. So then Lisa, which is Junior's mama, said, I didn't appreciate her coming at me, telling me off guard. All right. So then Betty interrupts her by saying off guard, and her face all scrunched up like a pit bull. So then Lisa says that she took it upon herself to say that, you know, Junior don't work at the warehouse no more. So Betty says something about she was going to whoop his butt, meaning Junior. I said, this is so damn fake. So then Junior says, who gonna whoop my butt? All right. So then Betty says, that's not what was said, that I don't bite my tongue for shh. Okay. So then Betty says to Junior, all that stuff that Stormy have done for you not to be there and have her back. I mean, Junior, she says, think about all the times that she have jumped up for you. Then to tell her when stuff is messed up in the warehouse that you just her employee, that you just her cousin too. Okay. So then Junior says, so there's so much that I can see. He said, but there's so much that I can see. Okay. So then Betty then says to Junior, but you saw, and what you did see, you didn't tell Stormy. Okay. Which this was stupid, y'all. So then Lisa, which is Junior's mama, interrupts and said, may I speak? Okay. So then she kind of sits up, and then she says, whose business is this? Is it yours or is it Betty's? She's talking to Stormy. So then Stormy points to herself like, it's mine. So then Stormy, of course, she was scared to speak at this point. So then Lisa says to Betty, Lisa and Betty says to Stormy, say what you want to say. They kind of said it in unison. So then Stormy says that I just wanted to tell y'all, how do you feel not hearing it from Junior? Okay. So then Lisa says that he's 29 years old. All right. So then Lisa says that I can't tell him what to do. And his auntie Sho can't tell him what to do, meaning Betty. So then Betty says, I'm not trying to tell him what to do. And she said it with an attitude. So then Lisa says, why every time you get mad with my child that you be saying that I need to whoop his butt and I'm going to cuss him out? Okay. So then Betty says, when I said that, I said that I was pissed at how he did my daughter. Okay. Says that Stormy took out time to pay $15,000 for your son to get out of jail. Okay, she always keeping up with Storm money. So then Junior says that Junior was in jail. Who gives a fuck? So at this point, he's pissed that they didn't put his business out that he was in jail. So then Lisa looks at Betty like, bitch, did you really just go there? So then Lisa jumps up. Okay, she says, now I'm pissed. Take this mic off of me. Okay, so then Lisa starts removing the mic. Stormy stands up and tries to stop her. So then Lisa says that she had no right to talk about my child and what he did. Says that everybody is not perfect. She's not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect, Stormy. He's pointing at Stormy. So she says that did she say when that time when she went to jail? No, talking about Stormy, when Stormy went to jail. So of course Lisa is mad and Junior tries to calm her down and she's kind of like removing her mic still. So then Betty is sitting there looking like an old Georgia Bulldog over there with her face all scrunched up. So then Stormy says to Lisa, she says, stop. This is not what this is not how this was supposed to happen. So then Betty, she starts laughing. And then Stormy says to Betty, says, why are you laughing, Ma? Says, this is not funny. Why are you laughing? So Betty said, because she said that you went to jail. And then Stormy says, so I don't care. She says, all right, I was 18. I went to jail. So what? So then Betty starts cursing and then production starts bleeping it out because she's just like, beep, 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 beep. She's cursing like that. So then Stormy says via confession, she says, thank you, Aunt Lisa, for telling people that I went to jail. She says, when I was 19, that I sat in there for like 3 days, okay? And when I saw the judge that we realized that I was a major college student and then he threw it out. Okay, end of story. And then she says, and then he realized, no, she says, and then she jokes about it and says that, and I still have a mugshot out there where I'm looking like this, and then she starts making faces or whatever. So I was just like, this is so damn stupid. So then Lisa says, I'm through. She says, get your hands off of me. She's talking to her son. Don't know why she's all riled up like that. She says that you just want to run your mouth, talking to Betty. So then Betty says to Lisa, she says to argue. So hold on. So Betty and Lisa, then they're arguing while Junior is kind of holding Lisa back. So then Stormy says to Betty, she says, talk to your sister. Okay. Betty says, hell no, I'm not going to be fake with it. She says that that's not being so then Stormy says that's not being fake. That's just some bullshit, mama. So then Lisa walks out of the house, out through the back. Stormy then goes into confession and says it's not about me and Junior, that it's about them. Okay. So then Junior says to Betty, says that you think that airing everybody else laundry out is cool, but is your laundry clean? Okay. So then Stormy, she says that I feel like you need to talk to Aunt Lisa, Mom. So then Betty says blood don't have to be thicker than water. Sometimes you just cut blood off. Okay. So then Stormy, she gets up and she says that I'm gonna go get Aunt Lisa. So she walks outside. She walks out by the pool. Aunt Lisa's sitting off to the side over by the pool. She's crying and carrying on. Stormy walks up to Lisa. She says, Aunt Lisa, please, no, Aunt Lisa. Bad acting, mind you. All right, so then Courtney, he goes outside. He gives Aunt Lisa some tissue, and then he gives her a bottle of water so she can calm down from her bad acting skills. So then Lisa is outside crying, and she's saying that your mama is evil. Your mama is so evil, okay? Then she puts her hands up to kind of block the camera from filming her because at this point she's fake crying. So then inside the house, Junior and Betty, they still arguing, all right? So then Lisa comes back inside and tells Betty, leave my child alone. And I was like, child, didn't y'all just say he's like 29 years old? He a grown-ass man like out here. It's looking like they rehearsed this whole thing. It was super bad acting. So Stormy is yelling at everybody to get along. Betty is laughing, which said to me this whole scene was fake. So Stormy says to Lisa, says, y'all make it so hard for us. Y'all just make it so hard for us. So then Betty says that she don't want her shit to stink, talking about Lisa. So then Lisa runs back out the door again. Stormy says, why you acting like that, mama? Why you acting like that? Then Betty yells out, fuck her. Fuck her. Okay. So then Stormy says to Betty, says, I can't have no housewarming, no nothing. We can't have anything, okay, with y'all acting like this. All right. So then Courtney kind of looks at everybody like whatever. And then he has this grin on his face, which further lets me know that this is fake. Because if they were in that type of argument where it was heightened like that, I don't see it being that funny. So then Stormy goes outside to go look for her Aunt Lisa once again. Okay. Not one time did Junior, which is Aunt Lisa's son, even go outside to go check on her. Not once to go see what was going on with her. She was okay, being that she was supposed to be so upset in that moment. Okay. So then Lisa goes outside, all the way out to the fence over to like where the horses is out on the plantation, honey. Stormy finds her there and stands out there and talks to her. Okay. So then Stormy says that the rift between Betty and Lisa comes from their dad passing and that they had to figure out who was going to step up and take care of everybody and or everything. Okay. So then Lisa says to Stormy that she felt blindsided and that she trusted her. So then Stormy says that you need to talk to mom eventually. All right. So then Lisa says, no, I'm not talking to her. I am not going to talk to her. She's very adamant about she does not want to talk to Stormy's mom, Betty. So then Stormy says that this is hard on me and Junior, that I didn't grow up with no siblings, says that you are like my second mom, okay? And then Stormy also goes on fake crying. Stormy does this fake cry, and then in the next 2 seconds, she ain't crying at all. She says, and y'all sit up there and do all this, and that's just not right, okay? So then Lisa says, I do it for you. Everything I do for you. But I don't ever want to talk to Betty again, okay? So then Stormy says that it bothers me so bad to feel like I can do everything but make my family whole, okay? So then Lisa says that I've always tried to keep the peace. She says, but Betty says that she's never wrong. And she thinks that by getting loud and ghetto, that it makes it right. She says that y'all asked me to forgive her over and over and over and over again. Okay, so then Stormy says that I want y'all to just get along. So then Lisa says that it's not going to happen. She says that Betty acts like my children ain't about shit and that you do not play with my children. She says no matter what. That's what Lisa's saying about Betty. So then Lisa says that that Junior was wrong and he did his time and we accept that. So there's no coming back from this. So she's upset that they put out there that he was in jail. So then Lisa also goes on to say, Stormy, look at me. She says, if I got to talk to her, that you probably gonna bail me and her out of jail, okay? She says, I love you to death, but you need to talk to her because I'm not talking to her, okay? And then out walks Betty from out of the house, and she's walking down to the horse fence where they're standing, okay? And Stormy, of course, sees her mama walking up, but she does not give Lisa a heads up. She continues to talk to Lisa, not giving Lisa a heads up to say, hey, mama's walking out here. So while Lisa is talking to Stormy, Betty walks up and just stands there looking crazy like the Kruger that she is. And then, of course, you guys know the episode ends there. Thank the Lord, because I was sick of that whole entire fake ass scene. But that's where the episode ends, you guys, okay? All in all, I give this episode a 5, okay? This episode got a whole 5 from me, baby, because, yeah, all right? 10 for the nightmares that I got from looking at Betty's face. I got a 10 from that, but the episode itself was a 5, okay? Or the horrible acting from Stormy and her family, honey, is what made the episode be sorry as it was. Now, next episode, let's go into what next episode will show. Next episode shows Lisa where she walks away as Betty approaches Stormy and tells Betty, where Stormy tells Betty to go hug Lisa to kind of fix things and make up with her. And Betty says, how am I supposed to hug her when she's walking away? And I was just like, gallop up that same hill that your crazy ass came galloping down when your wild wildebeest looking ass came walking down here in the first damn place. Okay. So next episode is Martell sits with his therapist, the same therapist that Melody had some seasons back, the female. And the therapist asked him to heal his past relationships, okay? And Martell is sitting there shaking his head like he's receptive, which we all know is total bullshit, all right? So then they show where Martell's brother comes over to his Airbnb rental house, okay? Martell says that I've always wanted to be a positive influence on my brother, and he hasn't always listened or always been on the right path. But again, it's never too late, and I'm always down to help him in any way that I can. And I'm just like, Martell, you ain't never been on the right path, sir. Okay, first of all, your brother is a criminal. You are a criminal, Martell, as well. He cannot learn nothing positive from you. He runs the streets. You steal ATMs. Take your baby mama to court for money after you made babies outside of your marriage. So you are the last person, sir, who needs to be giving anybody any type of advice, okay? But you want to be out here like you mentoring your brother. He's a street dude, and so are you. Melody revived you from the streets. It's still in you, okay? So his brother then says to Martell, can you teach me some things? And Martell says yes. And I was just like, bitch, you already know how to rob and steal, so go off. I don't know why Carlos is trying to clean up Martell's image by bringing this criminal ass brother on there to make everybody think that he is on the up and up and trying to show him on a or trying to put him on a different path. I don't know why they're doing that, but it is what it is, you guys, whatever. All right, so moving right along, Maurice and Monster, Kimmy and Kiowa, they sit down to discuss Monster. Maurice says that Maurice now wants to act like a father and kind of check Monster now in this particular episode coming up. Maurice says that, why are you looking like that? He's talking to Monster. Monster says, looking like what? Maurice says, looking like you're not being receptive. And Monster responds by saying that I didn't know that there was a face for that. So he's trying to be smart a little bit because his mama's sitting there. Okay, Kyle was sitting there kind of looking back and forth like this while he and Maurice are talking. So Maurice says, that's your receptive face. And then, you know, of course, his son was being smart with him. I didn't know there was a face for that. So then Kyle says, do you think that possibly he don't know what to do with those feelings? Okay. So then Maurice responds to Kyle by saying that it could be because you babied him a lot. Okay. And I'm asking him to grow up. And then they put the camera on Kimmy to where she says, I'm not even going to say nothing in that situation. So then that pretty much ends there. So next episode will be where Kimmy and Maurice will have a whole sit down and a back and forth with Monster with Kiowa present. Okay. And Martell's brother will be shown on the next episode as well. Now, Miss Van has been filming scene after scene. They have not shown her yet. And I don't know why they decided to skip over Miss Van and show Martell's brother in this particular episode. They've already shown of course, Betty, like what, 2 or 3 times now on the show this particular season. And they've also showed Martell's mama, Marlene. Why they keep skipping Miss Van, I'm not sure. And that's just giving way too much. I would much rather see Miss Van than Martell's criminalistic ass brother. But we will see what it is giving because she has filmed several scenes this particular season. So that is all for Love and Marriage Huntsville, you guys, season 6, episode 11. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed the review. Thank you guys so much for being here, all 602 of you. Please get the likes up. We got 384 likes. If you did not hit the like button on your way in, please hit it on your way out. Thank you guys once again for joining me for the second time today. All right. We will have Car Chronicles tomorrow. I will be sitting right here in my chair and we will have a great show for you guys then. Okay. Love you guys all the way that way. Thank you, Moz, for doing such a great job. Thank you for any content creators that joined us for this live as well. Okay. Please hit that like button. Also subscribe if you did not. All right. Love you guys down and goodbye.